Max Verstappen has endeared himself to Formula One fans with his witty charm and occasional cheeky stunts. And while these playful antics may not necessarily enhance his driving prowess, they solidify his status as the most exciting driver on the grid. From spontaneous karaoke sessions in the cockpit to taunting rivals, here are 10 instances where Verstappen did cheeky things. 2015 Monaco Grand Prix. Overtaking on the tight streets of Monte Carlo is seen as an almost impossible task, but after getting stuck in a precarious situation at the 2015 Monaco Grand Prix, Verstappen knew he had to find a way to sweep past the cars in front of him. Despite starting the race in P9, the Dutchman clawed his way up to P7 by lap 26, only to nosedive to P13 after a slow pit stop. Undeterred by this setback, Verstappen revs up his engine and goes full throttle, but he didn't make significant progress until lap 53, when Carlos Sainz and Valtteri Bottas saw the blue flag. This pennant was actually waved to inform both drivers that they were about to be lapped by Sebastian Vettel. However, Verstappen saw the opportunity and took full advantage of it. Once Vettel got ahead of him, Verstappen stuck to his tail like glue and eventually hid behind the Ferrari driver's slipstream to overtake Sainz and Bottas. The Dutchman tried the same trick on Romain Grosjean, but the Lotus driver shut the door. Verstappen's refusal to back down ultimately led to a crash that ended his race in lap 62. However, that brilliant slipstream on Sainz and Bottas was hailed by many as the coolest move of the weekend. 2018 Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen's driving style was heavily criticised in the early phase of the 2018 F1 season, following frequent incidences in the first 6 races of the campaign. F1 purists labelled him as aggressive, and journalists wouldn't stop asking if he would consider changing his approach. Amidst all these criticisms, Verstappen insisted that he was never going to change his driving style. However, the situation reached boiling point during the pre-race interview of the 2018 Canadian Grand Prix, where the Red Bull racer was once again asked about his driving style, and his response took everyone by surprise. "I don't know," Verstappen said, "but I said at the start, I'm tired of these questions, and if I get any more, I'm going to headbutt someone." While some took his comment seriously, those familiar with Verstappen's personality understood it as playful banter. In fact, another journalist broached the same topic, and somehow he didn't get a headbutt from Verstappen. 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. Following his wet weather heroics at the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix, the entire Formula One community couldn't get enough of Max Verstappen. Fans, analysts and reporters were keen to find out how the Red Bull driver was able to make up 13 places in 14 laps under such treacherous conditions. However, Verstappen was in his usual playful element on the day, and when the question was eventually tossed to him, he said it's because he's Dutch. Well, everyone knows that the brilliant performance at Interlagos by Verstappen has nothing to do with his nationality, and fortunately, the reporter understood the tongue-in-cheek humour behind his comment. Okay, please take a moment to support our channel by smashing the like button on your screen. Now back to the video. 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, Max Verstappen's potential as a top F1 driver was on show at the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, as he finished in P3 behind Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. The Dutchman was beginning to build his reputation as one of the most reliable young drivers on the grid. But beyond that, he was also showcasing his talent as one of the most exciting characters in the sport. And this was evident in the post-race interview that was held for podium finishers, where he cracked up Hamilton, Vettel and a small crowd of journalists gathered in the press room. It all started when Hamilton generously offered Vettel a sip from his Monster Energy drink, saying, "Would you like some of this? It's very good." Politely declining the offer, the 4-time world champion replied, "I'd rather have a Red Bull." Not one to miss a beat, Verstappen joined the banter saying the love is still there, playfully hinting that Sebastian Vettel loves Red Bull. Despite donning a Ferrari gear, Vettel embraced the playful jab, proving once again that beyond the adrenaline-fueled races, F1 is also a playground for witty exchanges and camaraderie. 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix. As we approached the business of the 2021 Formula One season, rumours began to spread that Mercedes was gaining an illegal advantage by deploying flexing wings on its W12 car. These rumours grew so loud that Verstappen decided to investigate the allegations himself at the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix. Following Q2, the Dutchman scrutinised his own car's rear wing before boldly approaching Hamilton's machine. With 2 deliberate touches, he probed for irregularities. Soon after, the FIA confirmed that Hamilton's car had indeed failed the technical inspection. Yet Verstappen didn't escape scrutiny himself. His impromptu inspection violated Article 2.5.1 of the International Sporting Code, which states that drivers are not allowed to operate, check, tune, or repair the car of a rival unless authorized by the officials. This violation earned Verstappen a reprimand and a hefty fine of €50,000. The Dutchman clearly wasn't happy with the fine, and he made it known to the stewards, but not in the way you'd expect. Speaking during his pre-race interview, Verstappen said, "It's quite a big fine, so I hope they have a nice dinner. A lot of wine, good expensive wine. That would be nice. They can invite me for dinner as well. I'll pay for their dinner too." 2022 United States Grand Prix. As a competitive driver, Max Verstappen demands a high level of performance from his team, and when his expectations are not met, the tenacious Dutchman tends to lose his cool. But ultimately, his reaction to these situations varies depending on his mood. For instance, the 2022 United States Grand Prix, Verstappen was called into the pit lane. Usually, for a powerhouse team like Red Bull, this process only lasts about 2 seconds. However, on this occasion, a gun failure ensured that the Red Bull driver was kept in the pit lane for 11 seconds. By the time he returned to the track, he had fallen down the pecking order behind Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Unhappy with this development, Verstappen trolled the pit stop, describing it as a beautiful process. While this sounds like a strange feedback, Red Bull team officials were able to decode it easily. And that's the beauty of the collaboration between the team and Verstappen. Basically, everyone in the garage had been there long enough to understand that Max Verstappen sometimes has a unique way of passing his message across. 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Another instance of Verstappen being cheeky with Red Bull officials was at the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where he disobeyed team orders. The Dutchman was running in P1 and looked set to clinch a comfortable victory on the Jeddah track. But then on lap 45, he inquired about the fastest lap. His race engineer, Gianpiero Lambiase, informed Verstappen that the team wasn't concerned about it. When Verstappen wouldn't stop asking, Lambiase eventually informed the Dutchman that Sergio Perez held the fastest lap and he didn't need to chase it. Verstappen appeared to agree with the advice, but on lap 45, the tenacious racer defied team orders to set a new fastest lap record. This obviously didn't go down well with Perez, but it showcased Verstappen's determination to win at all costs, even if it meant defying team orders. 2020 British Grand Prix. Formula 1 fans got a bit more entertainment than they bargained for after Max Verstappen turned comedian inside the cockpit of his RB16. While complaining about his car performance to team principal Christian Horner, Verstappen said he had the pace of an old grandma. This statement again highlighted Verstappen's ability to infuse humour into his feedback and communication with the team. However, it got him into trouble with his granny. In an interview conducted several months later, Grandma Marianne told reporters that she took exception to Verstappen's comment because it was a false representation of the way she drives. He was wrong there. I had to tell him, I don't drive like an old granny at all. Well, perhaps it's safe to say Verstappen got some of his cheekiness and his fast driving abilities from his grandma. 2023 Qatar Grand Prix. Max Verstappen was in top form at the 2023 Qatar Grand Prix. Despite intense heat and unprecedented humidity levels, the Dutch sensation produced a stellar drive to take the checkered flag in P1 ahead of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. After the race, the McLaren duo made their way to the cool-down room as they tried to recover in time for the podium ceremony. Not long after, they were joined by Max Verstappen, who had a special request for his rivals. As he plunged to the ground to take a seat behind Piastri, the Dutchman asked if anyone had a wheelchair. It was a cheeky question that took the McLaren pair by surprise, but in the end, they both got the joke and had a good laugh about it. 2023 Brazilian Grand Prix. Now, 2023 was a groundbreaking year for Max Verstappen. The Dutchman smashed multiple records, including setting a new benchmark for the highest win percentage in an F1 season after winning the 2023 Brazilian Grand Prix in commanding style. To celebrate this achievement, Red Bull played Green Green Grass of Home by Tom Jones over the radio and asked Verstappen to sing along. The three-time world champion initially hesitated, but he eventually caught the groove and sang a few lines before quitting the impromptu karaoke session. Despite being short-lived, this special exchange between Verstappen and Red Bull will go down as one of the most hilarious radio moments in F1 history. Now, the level of humour we've seen from Verstappen in this video is incredible, and that explains why he's loved by everyone in the paddock, including his competitors.